All right, we are live and we are recording on Friday, December the 2020. Thank you everybody for joining. We have Jen and Chrissy here, and I just got notes from both Magenta and from Laura that they were not able to join because of not feeling very well, and Nina got a flat tire, so she's going to be joining us soon. So we're going to go with the flow on what we have. So as always, the purpose of this is to inspire and add hope. So before we begin, let's do a little prayer of protection to create a sacred space. I'm going to use the word God, but use whatever word means the most for you. So say this with me if you wish. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the Spirit of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Silently set the intention that you're only open and receptive to those energies and that information that are for the highest good and in the perfect amounts needed for your healing and evolution at this time. Word, I am word. And now I'd ask you just to go to your heart space, step up into the heart space just for a few moments and tap into that natural rhythm, the true rhythm of the organic. Focus your attention on the area of the heart, imagining that the breath is flowing in and out of the heart space, breathing in and out a little slower and deeper than usual. And let's just hold that space, feeling unconditional love for all of our brothers and sisters on planet Earth at this time. And let's just hold that for a few breaths. And bring it back when you can. So that prayer of protection comes from my teachers, which is Paul Selig and the guides. The guides have named themselves a couple of times as Melchizedek. So it is their prayer of protection, or that is where that teaching comes from. And I have been in school with Paul Selig and the guides for, I think, 6 or 7 years, taking a class every Wednesday. So we're going to be talking about a few topics that are indeed uncomfortable. And we're going to share some challenges that we're all going through. And I want to start with this little passage. And this came to me years ago. These are not my words, and I honestly don't remember where they came from. I just found it in a book. You might want to write this down, or if anybody wants it, write to me and I'll make sure you can get a copy of it, or maybe even I can put it on the YouTube link. The capacity of your direct communication with the source has been taken from you many eons ago. However, it is being returned to you in your lifetime by divine grace. That is why we remind you of this great event. Because it is this great event that has enlightened the fallen worlds and opened the door for the recognition of non-changing truth that is not hidden by diversity, but is felt as the source of all diversity. It is the root power that allows for recognition what darkness really is, a mortal phantom that now can be understood as a temporary error of the fallen or unenlightened mind, with only the power that you are willing to give it. And this growing clarity in the hearts of mankind makes possible the fundamental shift you are all waiting for, because real shift needs the eternal and unchanging divine reality to depend upon. Otherwise, it would be just about another little moving of stones and dimensional points of view. So I can't remember who that was shared with, but that is so important because the template of reality that we have right now is crumbling. And that's what we're all witnessing. There are those that are in power and in control that don't want to give up that power, but their time is over. So we're watching essentially the fall of the Roman Empire, and they are really overstepping their reach. And as I'd mentioned, I've been a student of the guides for many years, and last night's class They talked about the importance of trust, and that it right now, the most important thing is the release of the old, and not prescribing to what we think that this should look like. Because as I just shared, we have to rely on that divine reality template, and the old template is going to be pulled from out from underneath us. They said it is so important to stay in the present moment, because this is the only moment you can be connected to Source. And that we have to realize that we have a partnership with Source, and we can invite Source into everything that we're doing. Faith is so important right now, and that we will be taught what we need to learn in the day, not to prescribe the outcome. They also mentioned that when you meet a teacher that is embodied by love, you have indeed met a master. They mentioned the importance of operating as love, that a smile to a stranger could have more meaning than hands-on healing for somebody else. They said you add peace and love everywhere you go. About releasing the idea of what should be and what no longer serves us, that there was union, one note, one song. And then, so I'm going to go from there, if it's cool with you guys. What I'm seeing psychically, because Jen, I think you and both Chrissy, you've got both some stuff that you want to share too. So basically it's time to move. It's kind of like the theme, it's time to move. And everything is very polarized, very like completely opposite ideas, extremes, lies and truth. People are caught up all over the place in great confusion as the collective is swimming or being pummeled by these polarized energies. And at the same time, this energy of truth is coming in and unearthing everything underneath us. It's like an excavator pulling all this shit essentially to the surface, because they show me a festering boil or a cyst with a lot of green pus, for lack of a better word, that's coming up to be released. And they showed me that it's going to be there. It's going to be painful, but it's going to be quick as this gets released. So we kind of feel like we're in the tumble dryer or the spin cycle. We're getting like shaken, not stirred. And at the same time, and this is what I was sharing with you, Jen, yesterday, at the same time though, those on the planet that have opened their hearts and have connected to Source and have chosen love and life and the celebration of and claim their sovereignty, that one note of the universe, that time to move, the song is being sung from the hearts. And I can see all this music coming out of the hearts as one tone to bring things back into the law of rhythm, essentially. And so on that note, I'm going to open up the floor, and phenomenal sounds are coming in from my camera. I'm sorry, I'm going to mute now. I'm done talking, so I'm going to mute, and I'm going to open up for you girls. I'm in a gym because this is the only place I can get high-speed internet, so I'm just making it work, right? So I'm going to mute myself now.
That's fine. I didn't realize you were in a gym, Paula.
Oh yeah, this is my CrossFit gym. I'm doing the best I can. Last time I was out in the main gym, but I'm in the office here. And
that's fine. Just maybe mute when you're not talking, is probably.
Absolutely, I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we go.
Chrissy, do you want to say something, love? Okay, well, I just want to say that that was really, really powerful, Paula, and thank you so much for sharing that. And when you were speaking, I just really needed to hear those words and to be reminded of that, about love and about the importance of love. And myself, I'm going through so many challenges at the moment in my personal life and ending a relationship and all of the complications that shouldn't come from that, but have come from that, basically. And yeah, it's so beautiful to be reminded of, you know, what's really, really important, because it's so easy for us to get lost in the, well, for me anyway, I can get lost in this sort of like the details of the third dimension when things aren't flowing smoothly. But if you actually look at it from you know, the big picture, there's a spiritual battle that is taking place at the moment. And like Paula was saying, it's like, you know, the fall of the Roman Empire, but they're really, really exerting their push now. And so collectively, we're all experiencing, you know, huge challenges energetically, like that's just what's going on. And I think for all of us that are very, very sensitive, we're just very much in tune, not only with ourselves and our own process that's happening, but also with our brothers and sisters that maybe don't have the spiritual tools to be able to process all the energies, all the shifts that are taking place. So I think it's so important what you were saying, Paula, about, you know, coming back to love, and that is the only thing that's really, really important, is that we serve our brothers and sisters and that we look after ourselves, and we remember that love is everything. Love is the beginning and the end, and absolutely everything in between. And our job as human souls is to be in alignment with that at all times, and, you know, try to not get, for me anyway, to try not to get lost in the details of the fallout of the third dimension, because we're all experiencing some sort of purge. It seems to me the theme at the moment is purge, and maybe this is like the one final last purge prior to this 21st of December grand conjunction. I would imagine that something to that effect is going on, but I know that for myself, like, I'm purging such extremely deep energies, particularly from my womb space, which is making me very, very emotional and quite hormonal, but it just feels like somehow it's in alignment with the energies of what's going on with the collective. So I just think we're all here, and we all just need to be really, really real, and many of us are having extreme challenges at the moment, and let's just hope that shifts, you know, by the time we get into this 21st of December, hopefully before then. So yeah, that's what I've got to say on that. What about you, Chrissy?
Yeah, and I can share with you, Jen, what the guides were talking about last night in the class is that when you work with your divine self or higher self, Christed self, resurrected self, monadic self, whatever word you want to use, when you are in conscious partnership with Source as your partner, they can make information of past lives that are important to release now available to you. So we're clearing out the closet, so to speak, from eons past as well, which is huge. And that's why I think they showed me the picture of the cyst, because this is old stuff, and it's all up to be cleared. But I want to share this, what they did say last night. I listened to the teaching again this morning. For those that have put their hand up and have agreed consciously to embody fully, and I'm in that camp, they said last night it's time, and that the only thing that is required now for embodiment is agreement. And then we did some singing, some toning, and it was so palpable. It was so, when you open up your heart, and when you work with the heart, I think everybody knows on here, I teach HeartMath, which is basically connecting to the heart, to source, through the science of HeartMath. When you connect there, you can feel the love of source in the breastplate. And and that's where our solace is right now. That's our partner as we move through this dark passage. You're not going to find solace anywhere out there. You're not going to. The only place you're going to find peace is the inner sanctuary. And so I can, if it's okay with you guys, since we're on the theme of uplifting, I want to share something else with you. About 10 years ago, I was invited, or I was introduced to the raw material by LL Research. And actually it was through the group Energetic Synthesis that Lisa Renee created years ago. And it was one of the girls in that group that had recommended these books to me. And I got an email from them this week. It's LL Research, and you can get a copy of this book, all of the books actually, on llresearch.org. So I can leave that link for folks in the YouTube. And because this was originally viewed as one of the purest channelings ever, because it was done in the late 70s, early 80s, and Carla was in complete trance. And they were actually looking to find ETs. That's how it all happened. And then 4 books came from Raw. So anyway, they wrote an email this week, and I'd like to share it with everybody because, again, it gives such great hope. And then there's a little part here I think Chrissy is going to completely resonate with what you and I were talking about off camera. So they usually do a fundraiser, but now they want to do a message of hope, faith, and courage. They say our societies are under mounting duress from the isolation and economic hardships of the pandemic and wealth inequality to the rising tension of conflicting political ideologies, to the sharp increase of negative and authoritarian energies, to the ongoing suffering caused by racial inequality, to fragmentation, disharmony, and impairment of collective sense-making. The old third density structures are coming undone. The subsequent clamor and confusion challenge us. In no way this is the whole picture, but it is loud enough to potentially seduce the attention, sap our will, depress our faith, and disconnect us from source, not to mention elevate our anxiety levels. And it is here we would speak to you about the necessity of pulling back from the passing show of the earth stage. Whatever your hopes for the world, you experience the world only through your own consciousness. And in your consciousness, you seek peace, resilience, and the strength to keep your heart open to love. We remind each that these qualities come not from, but beyond the illusion. Thus, the best way to keep the outer show from overtaking you is found in the conscious experience of stillness and silence. However briefly you touch that external spring within, eternal spring within, your power grows to be at peace in the turmoil and to see through the predominant collective narratives. And with that power comes the eyes to see the growing fourth density light happening around the planet and your importance to that vital light. So Ra describes that we on earth are as the parents of that which is in the womb. The earth, as you call it, is ready to be born, and the delivery is not going smoothly. What contributes to this difficult and prolonged delivery? The third density climate of planetary consciousness is retarding the process. This is coming from Ra, so I'm not using an inappropriate word here. The third density climate of planetary consciousness, so it's the consciousness that's causing a challenge here. So while the planet has moved into the new vibration and is ready and waiting, wanting to be born, we humans are the one variable which resists or opens the way, which means that fourth density doesn't happen to us as much as it happens through us, particularly when we link our open hearts together, which is why we gather here and do these things. That you are here is evidence both of the need for you in this world, Chrissy, we need you, and we need that glorious heart of yours, and the great potential of your being to affect the planetary outcome. You would not have come, and this goes for everybody that is listening to these words, you would not have come if you could not have impact. You would not have awoken to your inner light if you could not heal and transform. You would not be seeking if you could not find that which you seek. You are needed. You are not alone. You are loved, and in concert with many, many millions, you have work to do. And this is a quote from Ra from July of 2007. And this is appropriate to any of those of us that woke up and think, you know what, I don't want to be here. This is not having fun. What Ra said on the 31st of July, 2007, what wanderers usually do not realize is that which is so obvious and easy from the other side of the veil is impossible to read and difficult to bear within the thick veiling of the third density of earth and its free will and its extremely thick veil. The danger always is that the wanderer will not wake up, or if it is partially awake, that it will awaken only to complain that it is not comfortable, that it wants to go home and wants to leave this place that is so polluted and dirty. To those who feel these things, we would suggest that it is precisely because this planet is in so need of higher vibrations that you came in to serve at this time to help lighten the vibrations of planet Earth. That which you know of the higher planes, that which you remember in a dim or not so dim way, bring into your heart and let it bless the environment that you see before you, just as it is. You are not here to clean it up. You are not here to make it right. You are not here to fix it. For all the outer world is an illusion. You are here to love it. Take the world in your arms and embrace it. This is how you came to serve. This is the glory of your crown and your crown. Wear it well and rejoice in being here.
Paula, you are on fire. You are so on fire. I love it. That's just, you're so full of energy. It's so nice to hear that, because I'm like completely in the opposite energy. And those words are really touching true. Also, Jen, I'm sorry to hear about what you said, what you're going through. I wasn't aware of the first thing you said, so I'm really sorry. And I'll get in touch with you as well to talk about that if you want. I wrote this last night. It's a short piece. I'd just like to read it out. I'm tired. There is no place for us to go. There is only space for followers of the transhumanist agenda. Natural humans connected to spirit don't have their communities they long for. There seems to be nowhere on this earth where there is a place that isn't under the control of a new world order in some form or other. It took them a long time and they had a lot of patience, but slowly yet surely they blanketed the earth with their anti-life agenda. I worked so fucking hard for so many years to try and help people awaken, but I was just ridiculed. Death by 1,000 cuts, my friend calls this phenomenon of life force slowly getting sucked out of light workers. I'm disappointed in Gaia for her letting herself be used like this. Why, Great Mother, do you let these rogue children tear the fabric of life apart? Why do you let them desecrate your divine gardens? And why forsake your greatest helpers? Why, ascended masters in spirit, do you keep giving us messages of a new golden age just around the corner? It's been channeled for decades, and meanwhile the destruction of our planet just continues. I'm tired. So that goes completely against what you just said, and yet I totally know that what you're saying is truth. I still know that on some levels. But it would be really unnatural if I didn't have a reaction like this as well. If I didn't, I would be so caught up in illusion that it wouldn't be normal. I mean, there has to be a point where you kind of also have doubt. That's a natural thing. And I think most of us haven't just come into the spiritual scene recently. You know, for me, it's been a very, very long time, decades now since I started doing this work. And there's been this thing, you know, this line going through where we do get to hear all the time, okay, we're on the verge of turning this around. We're on the verge of turning this around. And what I'm starting to realize is that it's not so much Gaia or the Ascended Masters that are misinforming us. What I'm realizing is that it's all to do with the collective, where the collective is at. And as long as the collective is still buying into the fear, indeed, this shift cannot fully take place because it requires an incredible amount of surrendering. It's literally humanity going onto its knees and saying, okay, I just do not know anymore. I'm giving it out to source, you know, like, let me be fully aligned to source now. And that kind of surrendering is really hard for humans. Humans find that incredibly hard. So as much work as we do, and as much as we do, each of us play our individual puzzle pieces of gifts that we were given, and as much as we share these with the people have a moment where they go, oh yeah, that's interesting, yeah. But for them to actually truly surrender into it, that's what it takes to get the shift going. And right now I'm feeling, yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I'm feeling pessimistic when I walk on the street and I see people cycling with their face masks on. And I see them putting the little face masks on their newborn babies. And they're lining up for the vaccinations. When I see that, I just step into doubt. Forgive me for that.
No, that's fine. You're absolutely right, because it's a challenge to be awake in a world that's asleep. It really is. I mean, you're right, because children learn empathy through facial expressions. So if you're doing this, they can't learn you know, what emotions are what. I can't read the energy. So it is very challenging. What we need to remember, though, what we're looking at today, though, is a result of past thought. This is old thought that has been thought before, and it's now manifest before us. And what the guides were sharing with respect to the collective, it has to get to the point where the collective's like, I just want the truth. Just give me the truth. That's and we're at a precipice. We're saying that we're at a precipice of choice. And then with respect to those that are making, you know, that believe that the inoculation, those that have forgotten, they have their own built-in pharmacopoeia in their own body. They've forgotten that their own immune system is God's technology, and there's nothing in existence that is more powerful than God's technology. Those that are choosing that is their choice. They have free will, and we have to understand that the law of cause and effect will play for them as well. And all we can do is pray for their own enlightenment, pray that their hearts will be touched by Source, because the energy of Source is here now, right?
It totally is, and it's so much easier when we are with our sisters, brothers and sisters, and we are in a sort of community type of setting, even if we live in the same street, or if we live, you know, on the land together. That kind of energy, it reminds me of this passage in the Bible where I think Jesus says, if there's this many in my name, that's when the change happens. I'm just freely translating it, but the thing is, if we're like cooped up in our separate little dwellings, like I am right now in Holland. Holland's such a terrible example. I'm so sorry for all the awake Dutch people, because it's so hard to connect here. It's like, where is everyone? You know, I mean, when you walk down the street, it feels like you're completely on your own on this mission, and yet I'm not at all. Just around the corner, there's another one and another one, but we're not literally physically together. And the power of coming physically together is so mighty. It's amazing. And I feel like a lot is being done for us not to connect together. You know, like even me, I was trying to set up this project here in Holland where we were going to rent a farm and we were going to start all these amazing things. And then the owner decides to sell it for more money, you know? So it's always, again, you know, like when you try to do something, either money comes in or something else comes in that kind of thwarts it. And so I just want to know, like, when can we finally come together and start these amazing communities and projects without the interference of all sorts of silly rules and COVID stuff, etc., etc. Sorry for the viewer if I come across super negative. We will not end this on a negative note, I'm sure.
That'll be when the cyst is lanced, because we have to remember, the crazier it gets in the external, the closer we are getting to the shift. Because when you look at what stage we're at right now, is the public is being informed of the corruption. As we've talked before, they have to be slow walked, right?
Yeah. And you also say, like, and that's totally true, you know, what you said about, it's not about like buying into what's happening in the matrix. It's about tapping into that inner world. And then I get jealous when people just go and sit down and they tap in and they're like, and they're there. When I do that, I'm anything but there. So I'm almost sometimes wondering, like, well, you know what?
I'll take you. I offered all you guys. I'll take you through the HeartMath program that I teach, because it teaches you how to tap into that internal wellspring, the infinite well, and it literally fills you up. It fills me up. I do it first thing in the morning. I do it multiple times a day. And it's just through that practice, Chrissy, that I've been able to develop that
I totally believe you.
Explosion of, I mean, I'm getting challenged right now too. I host an I Am the Word study group, and have done for as long as they've been going. And I had a member in the group for years, as long as I've done it, joining time to time. It's very small. I don't advertise it. I don't market it. I want it small and intimate so that we can share and learn together. And a month ago, she discovered that I support Mr. Trump and has been quite unkind and unloving on Facebook posts to the point I had to block. And I even wrote an email inviting, let's have a conversation with it. I mean, we're both students of the guides. And I got a very unloving, very unkind email, basically dismissing me from her world. And she talked about my group being a pitiful, and was just about as unkind as one could be. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, forgive me for not being who you think I should be. And I've had situations too, Chrissy, where I've come home from my CrossFit gym and feel like I don't have any friends because I'm not interested in the same kind of topics of conversation. I'm interested in talking about like dragons and fairies and telepathy and communicating to animals and enchanted forests and just things in the imagination, right? Which is what brings us alive. And I've had moments where this is a very lonely journey. The path of Christ consciousness is lonely, especially when you're in a world that's asleep. Go ahead, Jen. I think you're wanting to share something, or no? I got to put myself on mute again because, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that, we have to be realistic, and it's unrealistic to think that people like us aren't also having challenges at the moment. And it's like what I said before, I feel there's a purging going on. And like for me, what I'm experiencing is any energies that aren't aligned with my 5D Christed avatar self, or any energies that have infiltrated into me through maybe not having the best boundaries. I can't take them into these new energies that are that are building up for this collective shift. I actually can't take them, and so that's what I feel is going on. And so if we can all have that context that something is going to shift, it's like we're not going to stay stuck in this. I kind of feel like we're in the birthing canal at the moment, and it's got a little bit stuck. It's like the baby's head's got a bit stuck. But the thing is, it can't stay stuck forever. Otherwise, the mother will die. It's like there will be some intervention, like something will happen to make sure that baby gets through. But I think that, the energies that are causing the stuckness of the baby, that as we're birthing this fifth dimensional culture and new earth society, it's to do with the collective consciousness. And it's like what Chrissy was saying, it's people that are not prepared to do the work, who are not prepared to research and actually find out what's going on beyond the narrative of the mainstream media. And so because there's a I don't know, I've noticed a laziness in humanity, where that they just kind of want, a lot of people, obviously I'm generalizing hugely, but where people want to be kind of like taking their hand, say, right, we're going to now go and get a vaccination, right, you're now going to go and put your mask on, you're not allowed to go there. And they're like, oh, okay, thanks a lot for guiding me, that's great. And unfortunately, there seems to be a sort of like, that seems to be quite popular with humans. And I can't work it out. I mean, it's taken everything in me to become a sovereign being. And it's certainly a very, very intense and challenging path. But that is the only option that we have at the moment. And that is to remember who we are as divine sovereign beings, that we're not slaves. We're not here to be told what to do by people in government that are invested in making, like, for example, a lot of money from the vaccines that are coming out. So what, if the government really had our best interests at heart, why do they still sell cigarettes? Why do they still sell alcohol? Why was alcohol, which is probably one of the major causes of death, cigarettes and alcohol, if the government really cared about humanity's health, why are they still freely available when all small businesses are shut down, but not cigarettes and alcohol? Why is McDonald's has got, we don't even know what's in, well, we do know what's in McDonald's, and it's horrific. And we've got people queuing up for McDonald's. McDonald's happens to stay open. The government don't care about your health. All the government care about is making money and control. But this sort of leads me back to, that video I did with Magenta and Charlie. And in that video, I shared a download that I received. And what I received was that the deep state, let's call them that, it's like a pyramid, but it's like got heads, like it's like a pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid there's like monster heads, and then those monster heads kind of like feed down to the lower echelons of the pyramid. But what I've been shown is that they've all been cut. Like those highest monster heads of the pyramid structure have actually been cut. And this correlates with that video that Charlie Freak did, where Mr. T went to all those places and they all acquiesced to him, like Saudi Arabia. They let him give the award to, oh no, he held the sword in Saudi Arabia, you know, much to the dismay of the king. But that was his way of showing that Saudi Arabia has acquiesced to the White Hat administration. Same as in Japan, where he handed out the sumo wrestlers the big you know, their trophy. And that's something that only an insider can do. But this is all proof that all of these countries have acquiesced to the white hats. So that really goes in alignment with what I've been shown in terms of, like, I really feel very deeply that the highest echelons of the deep state have been cut. And what's being played out at the moment, that there's sort of like a lot of little monster heads, and they don't really have that same power source that the highest echelons have. But it seems to me they're just desperately trying to get little bits of loosh. They can't harvest the big massive loosh that they used to, but now they're just focused on getting a little bit of trauma here, a little bit of trauma there. Let's just traumatize that person so they can just get little bits of loosh. So although that might not sound like the best thing in the world, I think we have progressed. When I tune in, that is what I very, very deeply see. And so, you know, but it's like what Paula says, the only way we're going to get through this is by turning within. And that's such an important reminder for me. I've had so many external challenges. It's just unbelievable. And, you know, and it's nothing internal. Like internal, my alignment is just so beautiful. But because of the purging that's going on, it's just like been like really like densely layered. Like the challenges, the external challenges have been very, very densely layered. And so yeah, my little human self has been not struggling, but just having to really dig back deep into my spiritual toolkit. Whereas I've just been like cruising in 5D for so many years, but now I'm having to go back in. I'm having to work with Archangel Michael. I'm having to clear some cords. I'm having to really, really do the spiritual work again. And I haven't really had to do that for a very long time, but it just shows me what is going on energetically at the moment, and that these times truly are unprecedented. So if you're having a little bit of a struggle at the moment, like, you know, welcome to the club, you know, and I don't want to like create that timeline, but don't feel alone. Like what is probably going on is a purge. You are purging. So if we can just, you know, realize that it will pass, and we can just all just pray for each other. That's what I reckon.
What a great word to use too, because it is the time of reckoning. We have to reckon, because we have to realize, humanity has to realize that this is our kingdom. And this is what the lower, pardon?
It is.
Yeah, this is our lower king. This is the kingdom, and this is what the small self creates. So when you operate from the ego, the lower three chakras, those lower three energy centers, this is the shit show that we create when we think we can create using the divine energy. Right. And then with what you just said, I'm creating, I think you guys know I teach first responders, right? Stress resilience. I'm creating this course, and wisdom within the populace has been the enemy of the state within every dynasty and empire created. Every one of them. And they all, and so a couple of other notes I want to share. Primal energy is contained within all biological matter. So God's source is in everything. It's in everything. The sacred mind, the primal consciousness, and only man has learned to destroy what he creates. And man lives within the reflection of his own creation until he connects with his own source of light from within. And that's the whole aim of the ascension process. And with respect to our groups, we need to create groups of light and meet together frequently, irrespective of borders and thousands of miles, even if it's just like having coffee and getting together and sharing whatever little nuggets of wisdom that we would have gotten that week, our experiences, how we transcended them, because every time we look at something that's challenging and we surrender it to source, you feel it, you heal it, and we can move on. It's almost like it disappears and loses its power immediately.
Yeah, well said, both of you. You're amazing. And I think you're right as well, Jen, about the pyramid, because I've had downloads about that as well. And when I see who's actually enforcing these dark agendas, it's actually the masses that enforce it. That's the thing. You know, it's not even a police officer and the authorities above that. No, it's your neighbor who goes, why aren't you wearing a mask? Or why, or, you know, they're the enforcers. That's the scary thing right now.
Mm. But we're not going to let it
on the
scare us,
Ontario
are we?
government website. Sorry, Jen.
Oh, I just said, but we're not going to let that scare us, are we, Chrissy?
No, no. So on the Ontario,
normally not. Normally I'm such a warrior, and it's
You
just
are a warrior, darling.
normally I am, and it's just so coincidental with this round table that I'm really like, yeah, that I'm really like not finding my life force at the moment at all. And it's really nice to listen to what you both have to say. It's very, I really admire you for your strength.
Do you know what, Chrissy? What I feel's going on at the moment for me is that I feel like I'm being pulled back. Like, you know, like an arrow has to get pulled back before it goes forward. That's what I feel's going on. It's like, you know, losing FB. I've had problems with PP, paying out, you know, like Insta, like, you know, but it feels like everything's being taken away from me in order to pull me back, to like send me into 2021 with you know, so my 30,000 people on Facebook that I lost, that's going to look like nothing next year. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's been the same for most people that I know that are sort of doing the light work, that like little by little everything's been taken away.
Yeah.
And the message has been indeed, yes, because the work has been done. You know, the groundwork that you were here to do has been totally done. Like everything is now there for anyone who needs any form of information, knowledge, wisdom. It's there. It's been done. So yes, I did get the message of like, stop fussing, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, pretty much.
I pray you do that, and I do that, and we all do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to share this because I went into a grocery store to buy fresh produce, and I was approached by two people. Where is your mask? I said, I have an exemption. You're not allowed in the store without a mask. I said, I have an exemption by law. And they said, well, you have to show me some sort of certification. I'm like, actually, it's against the law for you even to ask me that. Then another person came over. So now I've got two people. And of course, everybody's like, what's wrong with her? And they said, no, as of Monday, you cannot be in the store without a mask. Yet when you go to the website, the Ontario government website, it says exemptions, medical condition. It does not say that you have to claim why. You don't have to bring in a doctor's note, none of that bullshit. But here's the big piece. Right on it says, masks will not stop you from getting COVID, but it may help others. How is that possible? If it does not support me as an individual, how the hell can it help you? And here's another thing. I've not worn a mask all year, and I'm touching people, and I'm kissing people, and I'm hugging people, and I'm shopping, and I've got my hands all over everything. Guess what? I ain't dead. I ain't dead. I've had a cold.
Apparently, we're already immune. Herd immunity has already apparently happened. And the high numbers that we have now are just because people have started testing these PCR tests that are unreliable. I mean, most people know this already. I'm not bringing any news, but it's such a clever scheme, you know? It's like,
Yeah, because basically what the tests are is kind of to the equivalent of, oh yes, Chrissy, you've got blood in your body, positive. It's like, you think, I saw Sasha Stone with Robert Steele in a really quick clip that I shared it on the Facebook page. But basically it's ridiculous that they're claiming that you could be sick, you have no symptoms, you don't feel sick at all. The only way to find out if you might be sick is to take a test, and you're still not sick. It's the most ridiculous. But here's the thing. When people are in fear, their ability to critically think is absolutely paralyzed. They can't think for themselves. Their intelligence is essentially in the shitter. here's the other thing. When people are put in a position of fear for a prolonged period of time, or like say 2 months, even if they came out in the news and said, it's fine, sorry, we were just kidding, it's all bullshit, they will still live in fear and they still won't take off the mask.
Well, you know that video I made, right? So Jen, I don't know if you saw that news item. So I created a news item 2 weeks ago where I pretended to be a newsreader, and I was like basically saying, guys, it was all a scam. You can all go back to normal life now and break down the matrix. And the politicians have gone on a mission to Mars. They've gone. And it looked like a real news item. So it was like, it was sort of dark comedy. But I was like, even if all the news in the world will do that, the fear is so deep in people now, they will just not even hear it. They will not even hear it. That's it. It's settled inside of them now.
I mean, this kind of, you know, when I hear you speak like that, I think, my God, what hope is there for humanity? And the only hope that I can really sort of find at the moment is this solar flash event, the Samvartika, which is, you know, I created my Facebook group, the event is happening, and you know, a lot of people talk about the event. So it seems to me, so basically what happened was I didn't know about the event, and I was just walking out near my house in 2017, and my guides just came in and they screamed at the top of their lungs, there's going to be an event. And I was like, whoa, because normally my guides are very silent almost and very subtle and I can't really hear them. But they screamed at the top of their lungs, there's going to be an event. There's all this light is about to come to the earth, but it's not light, it's God. It's God's grace. It's God's presence in tangible physical form. And they were like, everyone is going to be touched by it. There is not a single soul alive that will not be touched by the grace of God's presence when this wave comes. And they showed me that it was a magenta wave, and that it pulses from galactic central, and it's all to do with the end of the Mayan calendar as we transition from the old earth to the new earth. That they were explaining to me, they were showing me this timeline of this event, and saying that marks the end of the old age and the birth of the new age. And they basically said, this is happening. Like, it's not like, oh, maybe this is going to happen. They were like, this is happening. You need to let your community know and like prepare, because like people need to know that this really, really is happening. And they said to me, because I'm a musician, they said to me, you have to focus on music, because when everyone comes, they said, all those people in their 3D jobs, working in the banks and post office and what have you, they said they are going to feel it. They said there is not a soul alive that isn't going to feel this wave. And they said to me, you need to get focused on creating medicine music for when this mass awakening event happens. And so it was a very, very powerful message. And then I got home that day and I made a little YouTube video, and I was speaking about twin flames. And then all of a sudden I said, oh yeah, guys, I just remember my team told me that there was going to be an event. And the moment I said the word event, all of a sudden this light just came into my living room and it completely covered my whole face. And then all these orbs just started dancing all over the living room. I was like, oh my God, this light is actually communicating with me. And I was like, and it was like every time I said something, it would go, and it's actually a YouTube video that I've got. But it was such incredible confirmation and validation from my team that was a genuine, bona fide, truthful message, which I didn't doubt for 1 second.
I have to hook into this, because Jen, one thing I do know is that a lot of us were given the same message. And I already was on the spiritual path before 2010, but when I had my vision in 2010, oh yes, okay, it was during an ayahuasca session, but what I saw was exactly that. I was shown the flash.
Yeah.
And I was shown the earth traveling at a certain speed, and because of the flash, it just went warp speed as a result. And the flash moved us out of time completely. And it was an event that was like a wave over the entire planet, and everybody was affected by it. But also, I don't know, you may not have seen it, but I also saw a lot of people that didn't have a frequency that matched that wave, they died. But when I looked at it, there was like quite a lot of people dying. When I looked at their faces when they died, they were like in bliss. So I asked Spirit, like, why are they dying in bliss? And I've already said this 100 times on films and documentaries and everything, but I was given the words, this was a mass consensual ceremonial death. And what it was these souls had chosen not to shift to this new frequency. But there were also still souls there. Hey, Nina. There were also still souls there that had chosen to go through this wave. And I was told the same thing as you, Jen. Go and make more films, because what is vital right now is that you help to expand global consciousness to break through any limitations we still have, so that this wave can fully make its way to the earth. And there are so many light workers who have said exactly the same, that they have to start working with their gift and their talent to help and assist with this. So I still sincerely hope that this flash event that I have definitely seen very clearly 10 years ago, that is still happening very soon.
I want to jump in. I've been like trying to wait to, so glad that you joined us, Nina.
Yeah, I mean, me
in
too.
the class regarding this wave that you're both talking about, two things I want to add. In our class with the guides on Wednesday, we are calling forth the great light. We are calling forth, so we're making it happen. That's the first thing I wanted to share. And last week we toned to bring heaven to earth, and it felt incredible, like, oh, amazing. It was so, I'm a terrible singer, so I don't sing like Nina, the beautiful songbird. I'm a legend in my own mind when I sing, but not so good. Kind of like when I'm moguls, I'm very good in my mind, but don't put me on the hill. The other thing I wanted to share was a dream. So you both have had visions, and the dream that I had was I looked out of the back of my bungalow, and I don't live in a bungalow, but there was black sky, like smoke black, and there was light within it, and I was like, am I supposed to be afraid? Because I like knew it was familiar. And then after that, I saw this incredible purple, magenta would probably be a very close color, purpley pink torus tube like this, and then behind it this incredible emerald light, like a green. It would be similar to the very first aura I saw around my Reiki master many years ago when I was taking Reiki level 1. I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, I can see your aura. And it was this alive, vibrant, aqua, greeny, blue color. So it's a little bit of a different vision that you saw, but it's the same thing. There's light within the darkness that will be purged and cleared, and then comes this incredible healing. And we can return finally to the jewel and the proper caretakers that we are meant to be with this planet. So what we can do is, when you go for your walks, hug the trees, love the trees, create the enchanted forest, claim that in your experience. And I'm going to go on mute again because the lovely Nina has just joined us. And I know you had a big download last night that you want to share. We've been doing our best to share inspiring words of wisdom as we're all being challenged right now, Nina. And it's not warm in Florida. You have a coat on.
It's not warm in Florida, no. It's crazy. We have a cold snap, and I run cold, so I'm not used to this right now. So yes, I have my coat on. I also, of course, was outside, so I just came in and I'm just trying to warm up. Yeah, so Magenta and I kind of together received something, and she was sick today, so she asked me to share this. And of course, I'm finding it right now. What we were talking about is the vaccine or the maxine. I guess I need to be careful with my words, huh? Yeah. I'll do my best. So in regards to that, what she was sharing and what I was receiving at the same time, they were very complementary. I just need a moment to find that. If somebody else wants to jump in.
I'd love to just finish what I was saying about the event, and so basically, going back to what I was saying was that my spirit team told me that there was going to be an event, and then I ended up putting it on the back burner. But I would never have believed it if anyone would have said to me, like, anyone, there's going to be an event. I would not have believed it, because that's just who I am. It's like I have to be told and I have to be shown for me to know that something's true. So because I had that direct experience, I just like I hold that knowing in my cells. Do you know what I mean? And so anyway, I put it on the back burner because I was like doing other stuff. And then a few weeks later, my friend on Facebook said, has anyone heard about the event? And I had never heard anyone like refer to it as the event. And that's what they referred to it to me as, the event. And I was like, I've heard about the event. And then suddenly she started sending me all this amazing information about this woman whose son had died, and he was coming through to her telepathically, and he was telling her all about the event. And it was like completely and utterly in alignment to what I had been told. And then I found myself down this rabbit hole where I found Alison Coe and all her work with QHHT. And it was like, lo and behold, every single one of her clients that she regressed was talking about the solar flash event. And it was like everywhere I went, there was just this confirmation that there truly is going to be this event. And so that is what inspired me to create my group. The event is happening. And it was in March 2018. And it was almost like, it was like a kind of like a zeitgeist of that time, that it was coming into everyone's consciousness about the event. And so I created my group, and we had like 11,000 people join in the first month. And then we had 22,000 people join in the second month, and exponentially. And I was like, what on God's earth is going on here? And you know what happened? People would wake up in the morning and they'd get a message about the event. And then they'd go onto Facebook and they'd type in the event, and then they'd find my group. And that's part of the reason how we got so many people. But the point that I'm making is that, isn't that beautiful and amazing that all these people were getting the same message about the event? And I feel like it's getting closer. I really do. And you know, it's got to be the antidote to the like deluded humans. There's so many deluded humans on this planet. But back to what Chrissy was saying about when I went further into the vision, and then it correlated also with Dolores Cannon. I saw that there were some people, and I will use my stepfather as a perfect example. He does not want to be on the ascension train. Like and there are some people that just really love 3D, or are very, very, very attached to 3D. Yeah. And I was shown that there is actually going to be a little bit of a split that is going to occur, where those people can carry on in their 3D paradigms, evolving at their own pace. But for the vast majority of humanity, we're going to be choosing that fifth dimensional timeline. And so, yeah, I just wanted to finish off that little story about the event, because I think it's really important that we all have hope, positivity, and also that we can all tune into it. Like, you know, tune into it to all of our listeners. Like, ask your higher self to give you information about the event prior to going to sleep, and then see what kind of dream that you have, you know. And let's hold that faith. I mean, I definitely have that faith, and it's what David Ash speaks about in all of his work, Chrissy, and that's what brought me and David Ash together, was the solar flash event. So me and Chrissy have a very, very, very dear mutual friend, and so yeah, and I you know, so that I just wanted to say that. So I'd love to hear from Nina now.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Jen. I absolutely resonate with that, and I also see this great flash, and I see that we as stargates are going to be actually amplifying this, so it doesn't just happen outside of us, it happens through us, and we are a part of that because we literally are realizing we're stargates. But what I've had to accept recently, just to what you were speaking about, is that for those of us that want 5D, for those of us that came here for that timeline back from the future, because really that's what we're doing here, that is our heaven on earth. That is what we want. But for those that have made technology their God, or really want the artificial intelligence experience, again, some people want to repeat that classroom. It seems they're really tied to that. That's where their comfort zone is. That's their heaven. Whereas for me, that's hell. And so I really had to understand that, no, not everyone is going to 5D, but it's not because anyone is being punished. It's not because anyone is being left behind. It's because they literally do not want to. And they're disgusted by the light at this point in time. They're turned off by it. I've actually witnessed it, interestingly enough, in some of the personal relationships I've had in the past, where someone is more reptilian in nature. And I'm not saying that to say that they're a bad person, but they're naturally more reptilian in nature. And in that, they are not attracted to the angelic, to the harmony, to the high frequencies. They crave the darkness. That's where they are on their own timeline of awakening. And that's not for me to judge or for anyone else to judge. That's between them and Creator. So 100%, I absolutely see this occurring. I also see that there will, in talking about this Maxine, what's become really clear, I started having these understandings. I didn't share it with anyone because I thought, well, even for me, that's out there. But the Pleiadians, our future selves, right? Even for me, that's out there. Even for me, I was like, I don't know if I can speak about this yet. But of course, it was perfectly timed. When Magenta and I were together, and then she affirmed it too. So it was like, okay, well, Nina and Magenta both affirmed this. So that felt really good to have that support. But as we are coming from the future 5D, which is why when we were born, many of us already knew that we were here for this event, for this time of new earth rising. We've known for a very long time. I started to go, well, you know, the Greys and the reptilians. Well, what if this is also from the future? What if they are also from the future, and we've essentially time looped? And so the Pleiadians and the benevolent galactic beings that we are all here as the family of light, what if also the Greys and the reptilians are the warning to us of, if you continue to walk down this timeline, this is what you're headed towards? And so the way that my guides were showing me is that, because I've been really noticing in people's physicality, without judgment, but just fully accepting it, that people are becoming either physically more reptilian looking in nature, or possibly more gray looking in nature, or looking more angelic, or more, I mean, we're physically changing. And we can even see this in the news. We're seeing things where we're going, wait, that's artificially, there's something off there. There's something not organic about this person. I can't feel them anymore the way I can feel an organic individual. And so what I was sharing and Magenta was sharing is that they are essentially us on the timeline if we had chosen to take the Maxine. And that there are going to be those that are going to choose to take the Maxine. They want the artificial intelligence experience. They are going to become so far away from source. They want that experience, and maybe that'll cause them to cycle back through. But she also was sharing about the specific download that she received from the 9 that she asked me to share today. So it's specifically regarding the Max. So the Maxine affects messenger RNA. This messenger system is the pathway that is utilized by the higher guidance system, if you will. If you imagine a river on which little boats carrying your God particle communication system sail upon, then this is the same river the Maxine will use. Because the Maxine's boats are bigger and will take up space in the river, pushing the God particle carrier system out. There are those speaking of detoxifying from the Maxine. Whilst yes, it is possible to detoxify, it is not possible to clear the river, remove the Maxine's bigger boats, and reinstall the God particle carrier boats. Due to the fact that this operation is potentially an ELE, and this is extinction level event, even though physical bodies are not actually ceasing, then this operation will simply not be allowed, or rather, it is simply not possible to chemically remove free will from a collective planetary physical consciousness within a free will universe. Yet those with God complex mentality believe it to be so. The exercise here is as much about proving the ability to override the organic and natural with the artificial as much as it is about control. And then it was very interesting because as I was reading this, I started getting downloaded too. And then we were on my channel together going back and forth. And so they said the vaccine is designed to increase dehumanization and to increase autistic hyperfocus, to decrease human emotional intelligence and compassion by interfering with the cosmic crystalline intelligence that is a divine and crystalline nervous system pathway receiver of God radio frequencies, to also decrease our ability to enjoy light and sound and joy. The intention is to create an AI form of autistic drone type techno-humans who would essentially become the perfect programmable slave race for the Illuminati New World Order agenda. Joyless, hyper-focused slaves, living underground in isolation, dumbed down to life, no longer able to receive the God radio waves, but rather to be receiving the Neuralink waves or the technocrat AI radio waves. It is like tuning into the radio pathway of death. Their beast channel, the way it is shown to me, is like this. The delicate crystalline matrix system becomes burnt out, frazzled and twisted, and as a result, the divine electric generator that God gave us burns out. And so also what was brought up is this would be, what happens to one is that it would be quite akin to the gray race, who already went through this type of experimentation. And we need to think future proofs past. So it's important to understand why it's so important to not take the vaccine. And I know that's really scary for people with their families and people that are going to choose to take it. But at this point, we also have to know that every single soul is sovereign. It's between them and God, if you will. And we have a lot of beings on this planet that have what is called a God complex. I wanted to add one more thing. What's very interesting is that this morning, there's an article that's been released that they have halted the vaccine developments specifically because the person that it was tested on said out loud, I can't feel God anymore. And what it meant was that it messed with their nervous system so much that it was altering their human ability to feel. And the words that came exactly out of their mouth were, they've killed God. Now that's terrifying.
Yeah, and they added, I feel dead inside.
Yeah, I feel dead inside and they've killed God.
I've lost my soul, I'm dead inside. So the Palladians call that AI, they call them machine riders, where they want the machines in their body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, machine riders.
I would love to, what I have seen with what the Palladians are showing me is that before this gets out to tons of people taking this vaccine, it's looking like there is going to be this wave, unfortunately, of people like this that are going to be saying these things, and it's going to cause the public to feel alarmed. Somehow, with the event and with the things that are going to happen, it's possible that there will be a delay or there will be something that's going to cause people to wake up to the next level and go, okay, I'm not taking that. One more thing.
Yeah,
on the
I
event,
just wanted to, yeah.
Okay, one more thing. On the event, what is really amazing is that it's actually with the planetary alignment, it's very much similar to the star of Bethlehem. And so Christ is quantum, and I've really been understanding that. The light of Christ, all things are created through him from the beginning, middle, and end. He existed before all of creation. We have to understand what that means. That is the organic timeline. And so this battle is finished, and everyone is free to be set free. But in our sovereignty, we have a choice to turn towards Godhead and say, I surrender, or to not. And so we have to see that everyone is essentially getting what they want. No one is a victim in this.
I was just going to add one more thing to the vaccines. Two of the researchers who are no longer part of the project, but they have appealed to the European medical whatever. They're asking that these trials be stopped because they notice that it's actually causing infertility in women, where the placenta actually can't even connect to the womb to create a child. So you've got that going on, and then you've got Fauci saying, oh, well, you know, if you're too quick with this, people won't want to take it. That is enough to plant enough of a seed of doubt, hopefully, that people will wake up and go, hold on a second here. If we've got these scientists and all these experts, show me the study on the human immune system. Show me the study on what boosts the immune system naturally. Because billions of dollars they spend, I haven't seen one single study, right? Not one, celebrating the human, the nature of the human body.
What's really interesting is that with the creating infertility, that's also the grays. So the grays cannot procreate. So it's really, hello, if that is the timeline you're choosing, you're headed towards that. It's a complete and total dehumanization.
What do you mean that the greys can't create? Because so they just like live a really, really long time. So if they can't create, then they must live a really, really long time in their degenerative process.
Yeah, from my understanding, the way that it's been shown to me is they can't procreate naturally and organically. Right. So actually when we become so dehumanized, normally there would be death of the body and like a natural, but because of the artificial intelligence, they can be kept going. And that's kind of what they were showing me is it's a false form of life, which is actually like death that is continually happening over and over and over and over because the artificial intelligence beast is just going to keep growing.
Yeah, it's just like cloning, like it's the same principle of cloning. It's AI creation.
Yeah, exactly.
Inorganic creation. And I just want to say, Nina, everything you said really, really resonated for me. And I think it will resonate for all of our listeners. And it was brilliant. And it's a tricky subject to broach, but I think it's time. I think it's time that we start speaking about this. And I think you're absolutely right. And I just, I've got a 16-year-old who wears his mask and, and I'm just like, I don't know his feelings about, he's never been vaccinated. He's like the healthiest person on planet Earth, but he's on that. I'm just like, I just would have to bribe him. I would literally have to just give him money to not do it, because there are some people that just think that is the right thing to do because they do not question the government. They're like, oh, but that's why would I question the government? Like, of course they've got my best interests at heart. Do you know what I mean? There's like literally no critical thinking whatsoever. And it's just cross-generational. So no, it really, really resonated what you said. Chrissy,
yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. Thank you so much. It actually really touched me. And been also observing the people who think the government wants the best for them. And that gets me back into the past. And, when we look at the bioengineering of the different races and us being created initially as a slave race. Of course, many people already have read and heard about this, but it's, tampering with the DNA, like a vaccine, so that we don't think for ourselves anymore. And it's only because we've been going for thousands of years, we've been able to sort of reconnect different parts again for us to be able to see the bigger picture again. But that doesn't mean that in some bloodlines that hasn't happened at all.
Yeah.
Some bloodlines are completely geared towards just blindly following, which is incredibly sad, because there's this huge long-term mass hypnosis that has happened. And a lot of people, that are now waking up quite late, 5 to 12, they're having a lot of anger stuff, because they're going, how did I not see this? This and this grief as well of like, oh my God, all this harm that we have done as humans, it's just unfathomable. If you really look at how deep the deception has been, how incredibly deep the hypnosis has been, it's incredibly painful for us to realize that. And I think part of our purging that is happening now is us trying to come to terms with what we've done as a result of our cognitive dissonance, based on what's been happening to our DNA.
Really good point, because I'd like to say, go ahead, I'm going to go back.
We're going to have to put the link to the trailer of the Blueprint, the film, out, because it's coming out on the 21st of December. And all the stuff we're talking about now, you know, what the vaccines are doing to us, what artificial intelligence is doing to us, will be in the film. Basically, it will be 90% amazing fifth dimensional reality shown, but there's about 10% in the film, which shows the timeline of what happens after a vaccine.
Yeah, just to add, Chrissy, on what you were sharing, I mean, if we reduce everything down to just two people on the planet, you and me, basically the pendulum has fallen so far into darkness where I've sold you products that don't work. I've ripped you off financially. I'm selling you for sex. I'm breaking up your body and selling your organs, and that's basically the extent of what humanity has, what we've done to each other. As we've ridden the pendulum as far into the darkness as possible. But like what Jen said, what she feels though is she's like being sprung back so far that when we finally let go, imagine how much into the light we're going to fly.
Absolutely.
Right? You know what I mean? Like we're going to fly, and and I don't know a lot of the biblical teachings. I only know a few of the really cool quotes. And when you think about it, it's like, you will do this and much more. And I believe that with every fiber of my being. When I see the green moss growing on a tree that's dead in the forest and the white snow that's around it, to me, it looks magical. Like the dead tree is actually a home to all the creepy crawlies and all the critters and whatnot, right? Like it's quite beautiful. It has beauty, but most people might not see it. And that's really the work of the day, is can you witness God in everything, even though it might look like it's decayed and dead? Because that's the work of the day, is for us to love and bless everything we see. And even if it's something that is the most horrendous thing ever, just make the commitment, say, I witnessed this thing before me through the eyes of the Christ, through the eyes of love. Let you be a witness to and allow that transformation to happen. Because again, as I say, I'm writing this course, I've got all these little quotes I wanted to share. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in utilizing the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower by vibrating on the higher. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. I feel like that's so appropriate right now. All masters, if we, what nonsense would it be? All of those listening, anybody that hears these words, we've all put our hand up and said, I want to serve. What nonsense would it be for anyone to think you're not worthy? That would be insanity. We've all said, please, we want a better world. I want to serve. And in the morning, use me, God, as an instrument. Everything that comes in front of you, no matter who it is, the pissy person at the grocery store, or the person saying, where's your mask? Bless them, love them anyway, and carry on about your day.
Yeah, that must be the way. Oh, sorry, go Nina.
No, I just wanted to mention about, what it really comes down to is that we're already forgiven, in the sense that every single person, no matter what they've done, even those that have done the most atrocious crimes, we're all already forgiven. But a lot of people, what I see is they're not ready to forgive themselves. And that lack of self-forgiveness and not being able to open your heart to the Christed light in you is what is creating that feeling of separation. So we have to understand that if these people surrendered, the ones that have even done the most atrocious things, but they're not going to, because they've never liked God. Are they not familiar to you guys? Because they're familiar to me. I'm like, oh, these are the Pharaoh and the Pharisee. We've been here before. We know who you are. They've always played this role. They don't like God. They want to be God. They're more Luciferian in that way in nature. They worship the beast. They worship I want to be God, not I want to serve all of creation. So let them go have their I hate God party, because I'm really ready for us all to have our 5D I absolutely am in love with God party. And I don't know about all of you, but as this event is getting closer and closer, what's been coming, the Holy Spirit has been showing me like the idea of the rapture. And it's almost like, well, the rapture is already happening, in the sense that when others fall, you will fly. Do we not feel like we're in a bubble of floating right now? I mean, I literally have been, my life is full of so many blessings. I just can't even believe the blessings pouring in, the blessings of others around me. I feel like I'm in this pink bubble of love. And as everything is crumbling, we're just kind of floating in these bubbles. And then we're bubbling together in the big bubble, the body of Christ, which is that body of Christ quantum that we've been in the entire time together, but now we're telepathically connecting, and it's getting stronger and stronger. It's so awesome. I love it.
I must be doing something really wrong. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to share a tip with everyone about, I was really touched by what you said about, Nina said about finding the Christ within, the Christ light within. And I just felt inspired to share a tip of how I found that in myself, was by recognizing it in my brother and sister, and really, really clearly seeing it reflected back to me as the baby self, or the child self of he who stands in front of me. And it's like there's something that I observe within this kind of area, and to me it is the Christ self, and it's like clearer than the sky up in the air. But I see that part of them that is so vulnerable and so precious and so beloved by our Creator. And so that is how I've been able to claim that as my own flame through recognize it in my brothers and sisters. And it's such a beautiful exercise or not exercise, but something to play with, like when you're out and about, just find the Christ self, because it literally is in everyone and everything, and every single aspect of creation is the divine spark. But in our human brothers and sisters, it is so pronounced and prolific and beautiful and powerful and strong, and it's so apparent as well. And so just start adjusting your eyes to be able to recognize the Christ self that truly absolutely dwells in your brother and sister, and then you'll be like, how can I see it in them? If I see it in them, it must be in me, because otherwise I wouldn't have the eyes to see that. And that was certainly how I came home to Christ consciousness, was through that recognition. And it's a top tip. It really, really does work.
Beautiful, Jen. Thank you so much. Love that.
All right, I guess I'm looking at the time, and we've been about an hour and a half, and I think I'm soon going to be evicted out of my my space here. My owner needs his office back. So yeah, great tip from Jen. If you can witness the Christ in another, you can certainly see it in everything. And when you have the eyes to see and you start looking for it, you will be blessed with more and more and more experiences beyond conjecture. So tips: pull away from the crazy external world, retreat in nature, love yourselves, those lavender saltwater baths, soothe yourself with beautiful sound healing music, and find the natural rhythm in the heart. It's time to come home to the heart. And with that said, God bless you, everybody.
Paula, can we just find out everyone's contact? How can everyone connect with Chrissy? And it'd be nice if we could just share, because obviously when I've been taken off social media, just to share what's going on, where people can find us now. Can I just share? If I just start. So I'm going to be facilitating a huge global transmission on the 12/12, and I won't be doing it on Facebook anymore. I'm now doing it on YouTube, and we had over 800 people on the last one, on the 11/11, and it was absolutely amazing. So we're going to be working with the reformation of the 12-strand diamond DNA structure, which was basically scrambled at the fall of Atlantis due to this 2-strand DNA, and they say it's all junk DNA. It's not junk DNA, it's divine DNA. So we're going to be working with the energies of the 12/12 portal to very, very deeply align with the perfect patterning and structure of our true diamond DNA patterning. So that's the 12/12 transmission. Please come along. It's very, very powerful upgrade for your evolutionary process. And on the 21st of December, I will be hosting a one-day retreat with special guests Laura Eisenhower, Charlie Freak, and Magenta Pixie. And we're going to be diving very, very deep into the energies of the day, working with sacred prayer, mantra, music, yoga, lots and lots of activations, transmissions, and astrological insights from Laura. Amazing activation. So I'll post all the links, but I think it's really important for everyone to know you can't just find me on FB anymore. Do you know what I mean? So there we go. Over to you, Nina, or someone.
That's awesome. So, oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, no, it's good what you're saying. I think maybe we can put some links also as well when we put, because also on the 21st as well, but it doesn't mean you have to look on the 21st, but the blueprint will come out and it will give people amazing examples of what is possible when we start creating these new templates, basically. So the film The Blueprint will be out on the 21st on iconic.com, and the link we can put on as well. So that's also something to look forward to.
Should we all share it on when it comes out on the 21st?
Yeah, the trailer is already on. So I'll put the link to the trailer on, and I'll put the link to where it's going to be shown on the 21st as well. So thank you for your link on the 12th. I'm definitely keen.
Yeah. Nina?
Okay, so yes, I'm kicked off Instagram and Facebook and Messenger, and most of you probably already know that, but I am on Telegram, and my channel is t.me-Pleiadian Transmissions. And I have a channel, and then I have a channel chat. And so it's amazing how anything that was used to destroy us can be used to lift us up even higher. And it's created this gorgeous place for a lot of the starseeds to come and connect and be supported with each other. And it's become very intimate and very powerful in much more of a way than Facebook was. And it's a place where we share the latest intel and all of that. And then, of course, if anyone ever is having trouble finding me on there because their search engine is a bit funny, you can always look for Nina Starsong on Telegram. And you can always email me at ninastarsong@yahoo.com. I do my best to get to the emails. I get flooded, so just patience is key. And if you go to my website, www.ninastarsong, you can call me or text me. Text is better, and say, okay, where are you? I'm on Telegram. I don't know how to find you. I get text before I get email.
Thank you. So ladies, please send me all of that information that you've just shared. I will make sure it's added to the end of this YouTube video. If anybody is listening and you're having a hard time finding any of these amazing ladies, send me an email at info@elevatemehub.com, and I will get you connected. And stay in that luminous heart of yours. We'll be back with you soon. So much going on this month with all these great events. God bless you. Godspeed. We've got. Take care. Bye, everybody. I'm going to stop recording now.